Hello, 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 hello. My name is Grant Kastner. It is so great for you guys to be here today at Extempore's webinar, Sync for experienced users. I am again Grant. I'm our community manager, and I'm really excited to talk about our new Extempore Sync features and all of the things that you can do with it. Abai is going to be helping me here today. Abai, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, my name's Abai. I work on the customer support team.
And he and I are going to be running through a bunch of different interpersonal tasks that you can do with Sync, and we're going to be showing you the works and how you can use it in your language class today, which is really exciting. So what I want to know, first of all, I want to just ask you guys a little poll and see how many of you guys have used Sync already. How long have you been using Extempore? Give us a little bit of background on how long you've been using it, your experience with Extempore right now, and where you guys are at in using Sync. You can just put that in the chat. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, just put that in the chat. And preferably if you could send your message to panelists and attendees, that would help as well.
We have a hand raised as well.
We have a hand. Well, I don't know if that's a wave or just a question.
It might be a wave.
Yeah. But regardless, yeah, and this webinar is totally it's very informal. You can ask questions whenever you want, chime in, let us know anything that concerns that you have during this time. Okay, tried it once. I've been using it since October, but I'm not an expert with it. Using Extempore since October and Sync since this morning. Oh, Jacqueline came at the right time. Several times for conversation assessments. Awesome. Extempore for 3 years. Never used Sync, but hoping to start next week. New week. Awesome. This is great. So we have a lot. Oh man, more people are coming in. This is excellent. On and off for a year. Discovered in March 2020. Thank you, Dora. Good to know. Yeah, so this is good. We have a lot of different backgrounds here. So the way this webinar is going to work is pretty straightforward. I plan on running through five different tasks that I have created for Extempore Sync that you can use in any level of classes that you have, whatever you're teaching. And I want to demo those and show you, the unique ways that you can use it. Abai is going to be helping me with that. And then afterwards, I want to give a little bit of background on some extra things that you might not think you could use Sync for. Because the thing is, the biggest thing about Extempore Sync is that, and what makes it stand out, is that you can record it, right? Your conversations are recorded. You have Zoom, you can do breakout rooms, you can do breakout rooms on Google Meet, Zoom, whatever platform. But the big thing with Sync is that it's recorded and that instructors can view it easily and that students can view it easily as well. So how might we use that later on? But first things first, I'm going to share my screen, and Abai and I are going to do some practice things together. So the first and one other thing, I have a screen over here that I'm looking at too. So if I'm looking over here, just know that I'm looking at another screen. I have 5 practice assessments that I have created. The first one is on introductions. So I'm going to click into introductions, and this would be for like a level 1 class. And I'm going to wait for Daffy Duck to join. That's a buy. And so what this is pretty much getting very basic, very straightforward. There's no additional prompts added. And it's just, finding a friend and meeting them and introducing yourself to them in the target language. So Abai, are you ready?
Yes, one moment.
All right. So, and then the prompt that I have for this is pretty simple. It's trying to be creative. You run into a new friend while studying abroad in Antarctica. By an extreme coincidence, your shared language is the target language you're both learning. And these, you can modify however you want for your classes. Introduce yourself and get to know each other in the room that you are in. Abai, you all set? So I'm going to go
in there.
I'm going to go to room, and Abai should be waiting for me. Should be in there. Here we are. Recording in the room is started. We can see that. And then introduce yourself to your partner, ask them some questions. Abai, where are you?
Should see me any second. Just loading.
Okay. Well, I can, for example, so then I could go on. I can say, hey, what is your name? Abai.
My name's Abai.
Okay. And then I might say, okay, how old are you?
I am 27 years of age.
Young, nice. So then, a simple back and forth for a very.
Right. 1 second.
Okay. For a very, this is primarily meant for low-level students, or I mean, you could even do this with your upper level students if they're just getting a feel of the platform. Oh yeah, hey there. Hey, Daffy Duck. And so the other thing I'm going to say, bye, mute yourself. The other thing I'm going to say is if you're doing this over Zoom, it's easier if you mute yourself either in here or on the Zoom, because then you might have some audio difficulty. So I'm going to hit submit. And my submission is now there. It takes a few minutes to process, but once it's there, it'll be moved to the completed section over here, and then the instructor can grade it and the students can review it as well. So that is our first little thing. So I'm gonna each one of these tasks is going to have an extra element added to it. It might have an audio file added to it. It might have an image added to it. It might have an audio and an image added to it. So the second one that I want you to introduce is a basic low pressure reading task. So if we can jump into demo T2.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to join the room just yet because I want to explain the purpose behind this. So what this is, for those of you who may have been to my previous webinars, I've done ones on reading out loud and oral reading as well. Or sorry, oral reading and free writes and dictations and all sorts of stuff like that. I really like oral reading and getting kids to just read things out loud because it's very simple for them to use the language right in front of them. All they're doing is reading something. They can use emotion. They can convey, different types of meaning without just linguistic skill, right? If I'm saying, oh my gosh, well, I need to say that like I'm surprised. Oh my gosh, as opposed to monotone, oh my gosh, right? When you know what you're reading, you can use the language to convey that emotion as well. And that's an extra element. So what this task is a low pressure reading task. So what Abai and I are going to see when we get into the room is we're going to see a script. And what you'll do, and what the students would do, is just read the story out loud. And this script I made quite vague so that it can be read and performed in a variety of ways. So I'm going to join. And then as soon as I join, purely because of Zoom reasons, I'm going to mute my the microphone in Extempore, and Abai, I think, will do that too. Right, Abai?
Yes.
I've muted myself. He's muted himself, so we can both hear each other with Zoom, but not here. So we have our script right here. We choose between the characters A and B. I will be character A. Abai will be character B, and then we can read our script out loud. So I will start with A. And then he said to me, I can't make it tonight.
You're kidding.
I'm totally serious. I can't believe this is happening on today of all days.
Maybe things will get better. After all, it's still the morning.
You skipped the line by. Keep going.
Oh, there's plenty of time left in the day.
Yeah, but I was hoping for something more,
I know. Things will get better. I promise.
Okay, so we can submit our response. And the thing about that is that with a rather vague sort of script like that, and you can use any type of script that you want for whatever language you're teaching, it can be performed in a variety of ways. And that's sort of the beauty of it. And because what this allows you to do with Sync is that, not just reading something out loud and knowing how to pronounce it, which is just as important, it allows them to use their emotion in the language, also without having to be spontaneous and making themselves feel like they have to be creative with language. Because you might ask a question and say, oh, well, what do you think of this? And then they're just struggling to come up with the words. And so producing that output is rather difficult. But when you have the text right in front of them, all they have to do is read it. And so they don't have to be creative. They don't have to think of anything new. They can just read what's in front of them, speak the target language, and get to practice using that emotion at the same time. Okay, we've done 2 so far. I'm gonna just pause for 10 or 15 seconds. If you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, I'd love to hear them as we go. Lauren, please, thank you for raising your hand. So I will answer, while Lauren is typing a question, I will answer Nicole's question. How many people can be in a room at a time? Up to 4. 4 students can be in a room at a time. And when you go, I'll show you this right now. when you go to your class, I've created these, you'll see group assessment, synchronous beta, synchronous rooms, number of students, and then you can drag this. But once you set this, obviously you can't change it back. So you can do 2, 3, or 4 students in a room at a time. And then when that is created, you can adjust your rooms here as you see fit. So when I have more students, I can click on this little dots and say, move community manager to room 2, move Daffy Duck to room 3, so on and so forth. You can customize it however you want. So I believe we have a couple more. Do you want all the questions in the chat? Yeah, please ask as many questions as you want. Chrissy says you were the only one that had a submit button. Why? That's not true. Abai, did you have a submit button as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
Only I have a submit button because I'm just submitting my response. If for some reason you could have a task where you might have 4 students and each person submits at a different time based on the task that they have. So as soon as maybe student A is done, they submit theirs. Student B, C, and D could keep talking, right? It's just that when we see on the grading page, that student, as soon as they hit submit, their part of the screen will be eliminated. So Abai and I both have to submit. If Abai, for example, fell asleep while we were talking and his thing went on for the rest of the 10 minutes, well, my picture would go away and then his would just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Students said they couldn't answer until they clicked on the partner's response. Then they had to listen to it, record theirs, and then part. Lauren, I'm not entirely sure that makes sense from first reading it. Maybe we can discuss that at the end. That also might be a troubleshooting question, which we can consult Sam for. But I will definitely get to that when we are finished. And Dora, thank you. Yeah, I love the idea of reading with emotions culturally immense. Absolutely, it wasn't like a live conversation. Okay, that might have been. Lauren, that might have been for the asynchronous room. So if you create an assessment, you need to make sure that when you choose group, you choose synchronous rooms here. Yes. And the other thing is not everyone has, I don't want to say that not everyone has access because we're running a free trial with this, but you need to sign up for the free trial before you can start using Sync. There's an option for video in groups. When will that be available? So the thing is with groups, okay, I should reiterate this. When you use groups, the default group type is asynchronous. And what that is just an audio conversation between 2, 3, up to 16 students. And so it's just audio file, audio file, audio file, audio file. Whereas with Sync, it's a video. So you see here, you see how that switches? So regular groups, not sync rooms, asynchronous audio is audio, that's what I just said. Synchronous rooms is only video. That's the biggest difference. Okay, more questions. At least I hope that answers your question. So video groups, it's synchronous is what we're doing right now. Good. Can the conversation that the students have to prep for the task be recorded as well? So Christy, once Abai and I get into the room, it starts recording automatically. As soon as one person joins, it starts recording automatically. If you want them to have some type of prep outside of the sync rooms beforehand, obviously you would need to record that in another way or not have it recorded. The only thing that gets recorded is once the students join the room. Once one student joins the room, it begins recording. Okay. Cha Chang, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. How do you know if students use resource to help them read? I don't think they would. I'm not entirely sure what resources they would use to help them. I think one of the things that for me is like I teach Chinese. I should have mentioned that. I'm also a Chinese teacher. I teach Chinese, and so I get my students to read aloud a lot. And that seeing text and having them act something out is really useful for them practicing the pronunciation and learning, because it's not the Latin alphabet. So having them learn how to pronounce those. Oh my gosh, so many questions. Okay, Lauren, we will do more. We will do more in this so you can see where to mute. It's just the important thing is if you're doing this over Zoom, this is a very unique scenario because I'm demoing it to you guys. Most of the time when your students are doing this, they won't be over Zoom. And if they are, then they can just mute their own Zoom cameras, make sure Extempore is recording the sound, and then they can do it. Oh my gosh, okay. When we're into the often work with whoever is left over an odd number, can I join in a sync test too? For the time being, teachers cannot join sync tests, but what you can do, so from your teacher account, but what you can do is create a separate student account using a different email. It's just a regular student account. And then you can put yourself in that class and join from there. That's what I do. Valerie asks, is there a setting for group grade versus individual? The great thing here is that you can grade all of these individually. It's entirely individual. And if you wanted to do group, you could sort of, if if they were in the same classroom, you could put them together and then just score from one person's account. Can you show us how to create an assessment from a group? Chinese, I don't know if students read from Pinyin. Well, they wouldn't, if you don't provide the Pinyin, they most likely won't be able to read it. They would just have the, what am I trying to say? They would just have the characters, the Hans right in front of them. Okay, yeah, so yeah, if they're doing it over Zoom, then the important thing is to make sure that they mute their Zoom cameras, like Abai is doing, but make sure that the Extempore camera is on, because then it would create a really bad feedback loop. Or worst comes to worst, you can have them leave Zoom, join, do it, and then come back to Zoom. Okay, lots of questions, lots of comments. I would like to keep going. So at the end of this, actually, you know what? Well, yeah, I wanna demo 3 more practice tests, and then what I'd like to do is I can show you how to make one of these, and then we will finish with talking about the unique ways to do it. Either camera can be on for the questions from Valerie and Lauren. Either camera can be on. Camera doesn't matter. It's the microphone. That's all. Okay, Abai, are we ready for task 3?
Yes.
We're ready. Okay, so task 3, as I look at my little list, is a task with an image attached to it. So I have a little other window open here. Task 3 is task with an image. And so what this task is going to be is, okay, what does it look like when we throw in an image to that, to the sync task? And so what I've done is I say, okay, the weekend is approaching. You are anxious to make plans with your friends. Look at the weather forecast and make a decision on where you want to go based on, where am I? What does it make? Where you like to go this weekend. Be sure to include when you will meet and what you will do there with your friend as well. Daffy, we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Daffy's ready. I'm ready. Let's see what this looks like for students. Daffy's in. Gonna mute myself. Okay, I mute myself. Daffy's muted. We can make this bigger. I chose a Korean example, a Korean weather forecast, because no matter what language you're teaching, you can always make it unique. I say, okay, well, I can't read Korean, but I do know that these probably represent the days that we are approaching in March. Abai, it looks pretty good on the 22nd. What do you say?
I don't know. I'm thinking the 23rd.
Okay. Oh, I'm busy the 23rd in the morning.
Well, how about the 24th? Would that work?
Okay, 24th in the evening?
Yeah.
How's that?
I think that works. That
Okay,
works for me.
where do you think we should go? I love going to karaoke. What do you think about that?
Karaoke sounds good to me.
All right, so we'll go to karaoke on the night of the 24th. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
So I submit, and just like that, we're done. We have our task. And so what I made in this other document that I'm looking at and that I will definitely share with you guys once I'm finished is that each one of these tasks has sort of a rationale / can do behind it. And so for this one, you have interpreting. You're looking at a weather forecast in the target language, and yes, you can see the little sun logos. You can see the days of the month approaching. But all of that, it's intuitive, but it gets you to see, okay, what does this look like in the target language? Can I still interpret a weather forecast? And then, based on interpreting that, say if it was going to rain or snow on Saturday, well, then you probably wouldn't want to go outside that day. What can you do? What can you propose to your partner to do in the coming, in that coming weekend or on whatever day you want to do something? And then finally making a decision based on what you've heard. So if I can tell me, well, I'm sorry, I'm not available on Saturday night. Like, well, okay, I have to hear that to interpret and say, okay, well, now I need to change my plans. And it's a really good interpretive task in both reading the weather forecast listening to my partner, and then output, interpersonal, producing language to what should I say, converse with your partner about what you'd like to do. Okay, I am really thirsty, so we have done an introduction task when we introduce ourselves. We have done, what was the second one? I've already forgotten. Oh, the low pressure reading, right? Using emotion, reading out loud, telling a story, acting out a story, which I think a lot of students like to do. We have done a third one, a task with image, a weather forecast, making decisions on what you're going to do based on what you see and what you can interpret from both an image and what your partner is telling you. And now our fourth one, this is one that I like, is choosing classes. So this one just has an audio file attached to it. So I'm going to jump into here. Bye, you almost ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Bye is here. So this one is a little unique too. My description here was the buzz of picking classes has you all at Twitter and excited about all that you can do and learn from the newest course offerings and of course the classes themselves. You're discussing these options with your partner when suddenly a phone call from Dominic comes in, informing you about some things he's heard about these offerings and instructors. So I added an audio file to this. So the two of us, Bai and I, are talking about what classes we're going to take at Extempore University next year. And we're not really sure what to do. And then an audio comes in and we can listen to that audio. So I'm going to hit go to room. Okay, our recording started. Mute. Okay, we both muted. Now I have my prompt, listen to his message, then discuss what you've heard with your partner. Finally, decide whether you think his opinion is credible and how you should react to this news. And then I also added in some of these for extra scaffolding, I added some sentence starters. We could say, well, do you really think, well, what if? There's no way. Let's listen to what Dominic has to say.
Hey, it's Dominic. How you doing? Listen, I just wanted to tell you that I heard Mr. Belding is not going to be teaching chemistry next year. It's a real bummer. I know. He was a super good teacher and his class was pretty easy too. And we all loved it. It was great. Anyways, I don't know what chem is going to be like next year without him. I really don't. I heard that this new teacher gives a ton of tests and she doesn't give you a lot of time to study for them. So that does not really sound fun. I mean, perhaps you'd be better off taking physics, but I've heard that that's not exactly a walk in the park either. Well, I just thought I'd let you know about this. All right, cheers. Take care.
Bye.
What are we gonna do?
Mr. Belding is gone. Oh my gosh.
How do you feel about it? What do you think about it?
I'm destroyed. I am distraught and destroyed. Mr. Belding was apparently like the best chemistry teacher on the planet, and now he's gone. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna let you decide this one.
Well, I don't like physics, so maybe I'll just switch majors. I don't know. I can't do it. Do you really think that Mr. Belding's gonna leave us?
That's what it sounded like.
Well, what if we could find a replacement for Mr. Belding, a better one?
There's no way.
Okay, well, see, I'm trying to use these little sentence starters here. Okay, we will submit. So there you can see how a task would work if you add an audio file. Pretty simple. Abai and I can both hear. We can both hear the the incoming phone call. And again, there's a lot going on with that type of task. One, we have this idea of, okay, we're talking about classes. We know what we want to take next year. Two, we then have to listen very carefully to authentic materials, talk about, this interruption and unexpected piece of news regarding the decision that we were about to make about our classes. And so we can, the can-dos for this is we can discuss our classes at school and why we like them or dislike them. Then we can understand a message from a friend. And then finally, we can discuss the implications of what that message from the friend means. So if Abai and I are both talking about how much we love chemistry, then, oh no, well, if Mr. Belding's not there, then what are we supposed to do? So there's a lot that you can do with a task like this, especially regarding the sort of the audio that you use. And it's very authentic, it's real world. And I think it's very valuable for students to do something like this because they have the interpersonal and they have the interpretive at the same time. And all of this is being recorded for future reference and reviewing and learning. Okay, so that is task 4. I have one more that I would like to share with you guys. And I saw a question come in from Jacqueline. Jacqueline says, students replay the recording if they don't understand it the first time. Yes, absolutely. That recording that you heard, the notice about Mr. Belding leaving, that can be replayed as many times as they need to. And then they can also skip around in the audio file as well. Yes, that makes it very easy. It's very friendly. But of course, they only have the 10 minutes that Sync is recording. And so in that time, they would have to, they could only listen to it as many times as it would be allowed in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to do one more with a buy, and then I'll take some more questions and comments. I hope this is helpful so far. Let's get into it. So last one is a food task with an image and audio. We're so hungry. Abai and I are we are starving. Our stomachs are growling. It's been 8 hours since we've eaten. And now we're in China. We're about to order food. But there's another message that comes in. So this task, ordering food at a restaurant, is making a decision on 4 things. 1, how much money we have. 2, what we like to eat, what I like to eat, and what Abai likes to eat. 3, what's available based on the menu. And 4, what our non-Chinese speaking friend is telling us. This is something I haven't tried a ton with my classes, but it's called mediation. I am sure that most of us have been in a foreign country where, for the target country of whatever target country, community, culture, or whatever language we teach and or speak natively, and we need to not translate, but interpret. We need to mediate for someone else. And so what this task is you will see a menu in Chinese. I speak Chinese. Abai, do you speak Chinese?
No.
I have a problem. I need to do that for Abai and this other. This is really cool. And what I added here was I added an audio file in English, in the native language. So you can do it whatever other native language you use. Saying, well, we will hear what this message says. But then the task becomes for me and Abai to interpret this message and help this guy get food based on how much money we have and all of these other factors that go into it. Abai, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. I have muted myself. I wait for Abai. Okay, we have our prompt. First, we will look at the menu and we'll see what foods we recognize. I can make this bigger if I need to. Oh, beautiful. Then,
Grant, do you see me?
I don't. It might be lagging a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We can listen to our message from a friend, oh boy, about what they like to eat and are willing to try. Finally, make a decision with your partner about what you will get, given the 40 RMB. There you are. Okay, it's muted. Okay. What you'll get given the 40 RMB that you have at your disposal. And again, I added some sentence starters like, maybe we should try. Do you think he would like that sounds or that doesn't sound? Okay. What bombshell of the news are we going to get here?
Hey, thank you so much for taking time to get me some grub. I really appreciate it. Anyways, I've really been digging the beef fried rice here. The noodles are good too, but preferably without the beef. Sorry, I'm picky. I'd also be up for some new stuff too, but nothing too exotic. All I'm asking is that you know what you're getting. Okay, I gotta go. Bye.
God, this guy is something else about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our menu. Abai, do you know what you want to order?
Maybe we should try beef.
Okay, we have beef fried rice over here for 15 RMB.
Ooh.
We have tangmian, which is like a soup noodle. We can get that for 14 RMB, but then now it only leaves us with 11 RMB. Maybe we should get the qingcai jidan chao mian. What do you think of that?
That sounds like it might be a good.
Okay, awesome. Let's get that. So I think that this guy, whatever his name is, I think he's gonna love it. Don't you?
I would think so.
Okay, excellent. So I'm gonna hide that and I'm ready. Submit. Okay, awesome. So there you have it. Again, that last task, quite something. So we have someone telling us something in our native language that we need to mediate for, right? We need to say, okay, I have a friend of mine who doesn't speak Chinese. I am the everyone's counting on me. They're relying on me. I need to mediate. And so with that, you say, okay, they what do they want? What do they not want? I'm looking at the menu. Okay, maybe this, maybe that. I only have 40 R&B. There's a lot going on there. So and Lisa, I submitted it. Daffy submits it too, and then they both go to the instructor portal, and we can look at that now. But just to wrap up that 5th task, what am I trying to say here? Oh yeah, you have to recognize menu items on the menu. Granted, if it's in a familiar script, then it's a little easier, but still you have to know words and vocabulary. You can ask what your friends like to eat. I had to ask a buy if he liked a certain food. If he didn't, then I'm not going to get that. Or if he's a vegetarian, then I can't order meat dishes. Or if he's vegan, then I can't order other dishes. There's a lot that you have to do here. There's a lot of interpreting. And then again, mediating for the friend and making a decision with your partner. There's a lot of work to do in these tasks, which is one thing that makes them so great. Aren't those tasks disappearing? Yeah, so Christy, I was just about to finish with this. So the thing is, she says, why aren't those tasks disappearing from your student portal after you have submitted them? It takes like 4 or 5 minutes for them to process. That's why they're not disappearing. And so when it's still processing, so 4 should be gone soon, I think. When they're still processing, they're still going to display as active tasks. So you can see that 4 is now gone, and it just takes like 2 or 3 minutes for them to process in our system, and then they show up on the grading page. So I'm going to transition here. We've done 5 example tasks. I hope these have been helpful. I'm going to shift over to the grading side and show you what it looks like for the instructor. But before I do that, again, time for break, questions, comments, concerns, preferably, well, just questions or comments. Remember, I am not IT, that's all. Lauren, thank you. I think they are helpful. And these examples, you can modify them for any language, Can this be used in asynchronous? You can do this asynchronously. Students have to be on at the same time. I mean, it's sync. So you're doing it at the same time. Thank you, Jacqueline. Woo! I am glad you guys like these. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Okay, talking a lot. I feel like I'm teaching, and I need to okay, students, go do something on your own, so I can take a break for a second. You guys know how that is. Okay, without further ado, then let's look at what's next. What happens next? Because you can do all of these things on what, Grant? In breakout rooms, right? You can do all of these things in breakout rooms, and so what's the difference? The big difference is that, again, they're recorded, and that we can look at them, and we can see what we can do with them. We can see the product that students produced. We don't have to be running around the room to 6 different groups at the same time. This allows us to record our conversations. So I'm coming to rooms. Here we have beautiful Alex and Alicia, our CEO's children. Jacqueline, yeah, you can create a rubric when you set up the task. I did not for these, but you can do that, yes. So here we have Alicia and Alex's response. We can hear them talking.
你喜欢做什么？
哇，你喜欢做什么？很好。So the conversation is right there. If it was me and a bye, you would see the same thing, just not as cute. And if I wanted to, just like a regular extempore assessment, I can leave feedback. Fantastic. Make sure to practice the sound in certain words. Whatever type of feedback you want to leave. I could also leave audio feedback, and I can leave video feedback as well, which is pretty unique. So just like that. So feedback obviously is one of the easiest, the biggest benefits of doing sync here. And you can see that Alex already has gotten feedback. I will submit Alicia's feedback. And you can see that Alicia has her own unique feedback and Alex has his own unique feedback. So it's just like that. Any question? Only that student. Yeah, only that student. Exactly. That's the thing about extempore, is that it is very just teacher and students. Only the student will see that feedback. Nobody else will see that feedback. It's entirely, and if you wanted to give a group grade, you could give it outside of extempore. I would mainly just email. Yeah, Jacqueline, to answer your question, you can program your settings so that anytime you send feedback, it sends your students an email to their account and says, hey, you have feedback available for this question. Christy, I will get to other tech questions at the end here. Okay, so now I have a few other things that we can do with Sync that you might not have thought outside of all of those authentic tasks that we looked at. What else, how can we make this stand out? Okay, the other thoughts that I have some of my students here. I can pull them up, Brooke and Max, is student review and reflecting on their own linguistic powers. Why it's not working? You can have your students, go back to their student portal, and they can look at. Actually, why don't I just show you guys what that looks like? So if I go to, oh my gosh, hold on, one second. I'm going to go to Club Extempore. Should be able to view Alex's page. The thing about this is that you can go back and have your students look at what they've produced, have them reflect on the assignments that they're doing. So, oh, here we are. I'm sorry. What am I doing? Okay, go to my class. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. Think about it. Regardless of how they think they did they complete the task? What were you able to do it using the linguistic functions that you have? Did you think that you were comprehensible? That's another thing that they could think of. How do you know that you were comprehensible? So here I have completed. Oh, I see that my sync was graded. So if I'm Alex, I can come here and I can look at my response. I can see the video. I can jump around in it. I can look at the question again. I can listen to the prompt. I can see my instructor's feedback, and I can listen to myself again. And I think that's really, really valuable for students. And so that's one other way that I think that they can use Sync for their own benefits. Go back, listen to your response, and reflect. How well do you think you did? Did you complete the task? Doesn't matter if you use the correct grammar, if you conjugated your verbs correctly, if your tones were off. Did you complete the task with your partner? And do you think you were comprehensible? And how do you know? So then, along the same lines of that, my third point would be going back and using the information that you learned with, in an additional added on task. So for example, go back, listen to your conversation again. So if I'm Alex, I can go back, I can listen to my conversation with Alethea, and it can use what you hear to maybe write a message to a friend. So Alex, in this example, he's not taking notes. He's simply talking to Alethea one-on-one. Afterwards, then, he can go back and he says, oh, Alicia, her name is Alicia. She's 5 years old. She likes to run and dance and play soccer. You might say, okay, well, take what you heard and now put that in written form. Compose a letter to someone telling them about your new friend. So that's something. Or clarify a question that you have. Go back and ask Alicia, oh, Alicia, I think you said this, but I'm not sure if you meant this. All of that you can do by using the recorded file that you have in their student portal, directly accessible on their Extempore account. I think I had a question. Valerie said that's true without Sync. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think what you're asking is if they can go back and look at it now. Yes, they can. You can do this with anything. It doesn't have to be Sync. You can always go back. Students can always go back and listen to their responses, whether it's audio, video, or written. They can always go back and look. But the value of Sync, especially with conversations, is that they can go back again and review those conversations, and see how they conversed, and reflect on that. Okay. Next. Okay. And then I have one more thing that I sort of thought of recently that I thought would be valuable. The other thing is that if you click these little dots here, I can download this video. And if I can download this video, then I can share it in other outlets and wouldn't post it anywhere where it shouldn't be. But one thing that I thought of was having, say you have your upper level students, say you have them reading a script or a story out loud, you're doing that story acting. Show that to lower level students and say, okay, we might not be there just yet. We might not entirely understand what they're saying, but listen and see if you can get what's going on purely just based on their emotion. And that's another thing that you can teach your students, is that you can understand a conversation, even if you're not at the linguistic level. And so that's something that I thought would be really useful, is getting these, using these files, saving them in other places, hosting them on another area, and having your other students look at them and examine them and seeing what they can learn. And then finally, reversing that is, say you have, a level 1 class like this, or, whether it's just introducing yourself or doing a basic task, have your upper level students look at these and give feedback to maybe your level 1 students. You can take the file, you can download it, you can put it in a drive folder or something. And, obviously for those who are willing, for students who are willing, have both on the reviewing part and on the, for lower level and upper level, both ends would have to be willing, sorry. Have your AP students or higher level students give feedback to the lower level students who need help. And that's, I think, good practice for the upper level students, being helpful and learning how else they can teach the language and take some weight off of your shoulders as well. So 4 ways to use sync recordings outside of just the task itself. 1, grading and giving individualized feedback. 2, student review, going back, reflect. Did you complete the task? How did you do? Were you comprehensible? 3, using the information that you learned and following up with it. What did Alicia say? What did you learn about her? Okay, write a letter introducing Alicia. And then 4, sharing responses outside of your class with other students. Why don't I just drag this document over? Jeez. My gosh. Hopefully it learns. There we go. Yeah, so I have talked a lot. Abai has been a great help for me. I will open up now. My gosh, that was the quickest 40 minutes ever. I will open the floor now to any questions that you guys might have. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this. I hope you learned something, and we are happy to answer any questions that you might have. Valerie, is there a mechanism for students to agree to have the videos be shared, downloaded with non-class members? The only people who can download those videos are those who have access to it, which will be the students and the teacher. That's it. 1 student. I can only access my videos, nobody else. And again, I encourage, consent, right? What was I gonna say? Yeah, so only, ask your students, okay, hey, I want to share this with my other students. Are you okay with that? Ask the students in that group. If they say no, then don't do it. I think that should answer your question. As unified, ask for the powers to be half points. It makes a huge difference in grading. Okay, Lauren, we've heard it. We know it's on the way. Half points are coming. I cannot tell you when, but they are coming. I have complained too. Even after I submit feedback, it still shows partially graded. Will this stop the kids from staying to work? No, Lisa, they should be able to see it. As soon as you submit feedback and the grades are published, they should be able to see it. You're welcome, Lauren. Jacqueline, if students are absent, do I have to recreate the task for another day, or can I just change the date and time on the same assignment? You should be able to just extend the time and allow it to stay open for a longer period. Because once the group responses are submitted, you can't go back and do it again. So you say you have 3 groups who do it and 4 groups, and the 4th group doesn't, you can switch that. The first 3 groups would not be able to do it again. Please ask away. Oh, and I will send out this document that you see here and this webinar that's being recorded after this, either later today or sometime tomorrow. Just letting you guys know, because I have all of these. Yes, Lauren, please absolutely share this webinar. I'm going to put it on YouTube. Once it gets downloaded and it's up on Zoom and in the cloud, I'm going to upload it to YouTube. I will send out the link to all of you, and you are free to share it to the entire world. We're going to find the rubrics that are already created by Extempore. Christy, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but when you go into an assessment, oh, yes. I'm going to show you guys how to create one of these assessments right now. Feel free to continue asking questions as we go, because I remember somebody wanted me to demonstrate that. So here I am in Sync practice exercise / sample test. We have the 5 tasks that I introduced today. Let's create another one. I'll say demo T6 for task 6 sample. Have our assessment timeline. I will extend it because I'm a kind teacher. I go to group, Sync beta. If you do not have this, email us and we will get you started for the rest of the year, the school year, June 15th. I will say Sync beta. If you do not say Sync beta, it is asynchronous and you have up to 2 to 15 students, and that is just audio going back and forth. One student records, hit submit. Next student listens, then records, hit submit. That's asynchronous. Sync is yes, 2 to 4 students automatically reverts to video response, like you saw me and Abai doing today. I say show more. I say, okay, description. Sample. Students see grades while I'm grading, when I publish. You should know what that means. I provide a numeric score. Here's your rubric. If you have a saved rubric, you choose here, one of these. I say AP conversation, whatever. Here we go. Here's my rubric. I can add more criteria if I want. I can continue to save that. That's where my rubric comes from. I hit next. And now I create the prompt. Add the directions. Here is your prompt. Do your best. Go team. I can upload a video if I want. Or an image. Here are my buddies. These are from my classes. Image. Here's my weather forecast. There we go. Launch. And as soon as I hit launch, it takes me back to the page. I can view my sample. And you will see here, I have all of the settings that I just made. You can see that, you can see that. You can jump in and edit the question. And here, if you have 10, 20 students, then you can move them and shift them around as you would like. So that is the very, very simple task of, what was I gonna say? Of creating a sync assessment. There you go. Gladys, we will get you set up. I will write down your name. We will get you set up. Prompt is typed, not an image. You type that in which box? If the prompt is typed, you put it in the question box. The description is optional. You put your prompts in the question box. Yes, absolutely. Why would a student be grayed out in the rooms? I can't move them or delete them. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look at that or ask Sam or other IT here. I'm not 100% sure. They might be out of your class. I do not know. I'm sorry. Maybe to buy. I don't know if you would know the answer to that.
I believe it's because she must have enough people to where she can't have more than 4, so it's gonna keep them in one room and they can't be moved.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Their middle schools, this probably explains it. Haha, that's fine. Prompt stays on screen during the whole conversation. Yes, during the entire conversation. As you guys saw in that top right corner, the prompt stays on screen the whole time. And they can make the image bigger, they can play the audio file that you have, they can replay it, do whatever they need. Okay. I don't know if we are dying down. If we've lost energy, that's totally fine. This was so quick. If you have any other comments or questions, is there an instructional video you have for students to watch? Students, I don't think we have oh, Jacqueline, I'm so sorry. I will get to your question. We have an Extempore Sync video. If you just Google, YouTube search Extempore Sync, it gives a little overview of how it works. All they have to do is just like you saw Abai and I do today. They go to where? Where do they go? They go to their portal. They find their class, and they can jump in and do the introduction right here. And then as soon as they're ready, they hit go to room. When Tony Stark is also in the room, he will light up green, and they go to room. That way, you know, the student's not going in and waiting for 5 minutes, and you have 5 minutes of empty recording. That's all they have to do. Jacqueline, no, I am sorry. Images cannot be uploaded from Google Drive yet, but it's definitely something that we have in the works. Yay, Lauren, thank you. Yes, can we create an interpersonal conversation as an AP exam, prompt heard and student response? I don't see why not, Dora. I think you can. Yay, thank you guys. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Jacqueline. I hope you guys really, really enjoy doing this. Abai and I will stay on for another minute or two. Then we will end the recording and get this out to you as soon as possible. Hope you guys enjoy. Again, I will stay on for 2 more minutes and then I will end it. So. Dorian, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you for your support. We are here for you guys. Any questions? Email me, hit me up on Twitter. At Abai. Abai Low is being added. Bukachi, Tatang. I hope you guys learned and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Okay, I am going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop recording and let us know again if you have any more questions. See ya. And Gladys, we will.
Everyone.
All right.